I love our theme music.
Is it just me, or am I the only one that when we're coming into the live show that I'm humming it and bobbing my head?
I'm all over that, man. The mic's mute in the background, but I'm all over. I love the theme. I'm so glad that's the Free Music Archive. I wish I'm gonna have to add the artist to the props
so you can
list.
See what else they got out.
Yeah, heck yeah, man. Heck yeah.
Well, we'll give it a little bit of time for people to jump on. There's one right there.
Greetings and salutations, person.
Welcome everybody into Indie Invasion Shorts, our once a week bite-sized show that me and Mac talk about all things gaming, whatever topics, whatever fancies us. The new shiny.
And I have shorts on. Because
you have shorts on
because it's a little bit warm here. I had to turn the fan on before we started, and you had to turn your heater off.
I had to turn my heater off. So that's the benefits of being in a cold, dank dungeon-like basement.
Is that a benefit?
It doesn't look like a dungeon behind me, though.
Is that a benefit, though? I'm not sure that that's a benefit.
It is in July. When it's like pushing over 100.
Okay, that's
down
fair.
Here, sit on the couch, watch TV or movies.
I go to the beach because it's right over there.
So I just do what I do at work. If I'm really desperate, I just go get the hose and pour it on myself.
All right, that's fair. That's fair.
Well, welcome in, guys, to Shorts, and today we have a I think it's an interesting topic. It's one of those topics that most gamers are on one side of the fence about. And I simply titled it Paper or PDF.
Paper or PDF.
So, yeah, we're going to talk about gaming things, whether they're rules, supplements, they could be stat cards. A lot of games have your little cheat sheets to get you quick. He's got a cheat sheet for tonight. Cheat sheets for like maybe it's your order of operations or just the game mechanics that you can print out. But some games they don't have PDF forms and they just have your your hard copies of stuff that you get with the games. Now a lot of games it's like they'll have that hard copy, but then they'll come out later with like add-ons. And actually sometimes like thinking about board game BGG, you can go under a game and look under files they have.
Okay. Define BGG for those who might be tuning in that don't know.
So it's
Board Game Geek.
Board Game Geek. I always have to think about it. And it's basically what collection that you can go to and watch videos, read about games, reviews, anything game related. And in the sections they have like community submitted like, hey, here's a cheat sheet I designed that you can use for this game. Because maybe they don't have one or the company hasn't designed one.
I'm gonna give away my position right out the gate.
I think Todd's in your boat.
I'm totally on Todd's side 100%. If you're not using paper, I wouldn't go so far as to say you're doing it wrong, but if I'm not using paper, I'm doing it wrong. I promise you that. I promise you that.
I used to be that way, but something like with stat cards, because a lot of games that I get into, example, Wild West Access, anything War Cradle makes.
We're going to get stuck here. I can feel it already.
No.
Get stuck.
There's just one example that pops into my head because it's near and dear.
Near and dear.
They do something called a living rules. So, yeah, they have a hard copy book, but online, occasionally when there's like an FAQ or some kind of rules update, they can easily update it digitally. And then you can either view it digitally, or if you want to, you can print it out. They do it with their stat cards, and it's a way to keep the game from getting unbalanced. As new product comes out, maybe they just miss something, or through multiple community members playing it and commenting on it. Hey, this is a little overpowered. Oh, this guy gets squashed every time he's put on the table.
Right.
It can easily update that, and then you can get it on PDF.
Yeah. And Free Blades does the same thing. So Free Blades has all of their stuff online as well.
That's
and
right.
They have a big living rule book as well. I kind of like the way that they do theirs. So once you buy the rule book, you get free downloads for
It's
it,
like lifetime,
for life.
right?
Yeah, for life. So every time they update it, and then they color code what they've updated from each iteration when
that's a good idea. So
when they redo it. Yeah, see, me and Todd, we just need to play. So freshening up a game is fine, Todd says. Print a new book every 3 or 4 years.
And that's something a lot of people get upset by, that, what, I got to reprint it? We're not saying you have to reprint it every week you go to play, as long as everybody's using the same set of rules. But occasionally, when they have major updates, then you might want to look at it at least.
I think and Todd, you have to correct me if I'm wrong, but I think he's saying printed from the company every 3 or 4 years. So the company, whoever it is, putting them out. So going back to where I said we were probably going to get stuck on Wild West Exodus is I love my stat cards. I got to have stat cards. I don't want to print them. I don't want to. I want to have my stat cards. I want to have, if I need it, man, I want to have a big old mess of cards in front of me. And even with my old eyes and needing my cheater glasses to see the cards on the small print, I'm still good with a 3x5 card, just the regular small one. And that was that. I'm totally okay with the rule book. I had never thought about how, like Todd had just said, where, print one every 3 or 4 years. I think that's a really good idea. But the cards and that's just for me. That's just for me. And if I'm not mistaken, Fantasy Flight went that direction too with the new release stuff for X-Wing. They did something very similar where their stuff was all online. And so anyway, for a larger game company, give me a book. And again, that's just me.
Yeah. And I don't think I answered this here when paper, hard copy or PDF. See, I don't know. I'm kind of, I could go both ways.
No. You are the one that created the title that said paper or PDF, not paper and or PDF.
I like having books. I do like having, because I like to open them and you smell them and stuff.
Right. That's what I'm talking about.
But one of the things I do like about PDFs is, you mentioned old eyes. Well, you can print your cards this big, or you can print them this big.
Well, that's what
print them, and
that's what Todd said. He prints his 5x7.
I want to be way back here and see what my stats are.
I wouldn't know how to play a game anymore if I didn't have my glasses rested on the end of my nose.
Man.
I mean, half of the game for me nowadays is trying to find my glasses. So
you don't do any PDF digital. On your phone, tablet, computer, any of that, huh?
Nope. Now I do have, so a lot of, if a book is out of print and I have to have it in PDF to reference it, I will still print it.
Because didn't you just find an old file on your computer, or it was your tablet, and you showed me, it was just like,
yeah, just I've got a ton of PDFs, and it's just a matter of so for some of the out of print stuff, it's just as easy for me and costs the same for me to go ahead and print it from the PDF files that I do have.
You take it to Staples or something like that.
Yeah, or Drive Through RPG. I'm a big fan of Drive Through RPG, and I'll find really cool stuff on Drive Through, and I'll click it, and I'll go, and it'll say watermarked PDF with no option for a book, and I'm like, boo, can't do it. And so I like to have a book. There's something very tactile about it for me when I'm playing whatever it is, whether it's the card for my guys, which I get printing. And from the company's perspective, like, not picking on War Cradle, because I love War Cradle, the great company, and done amazing things with one of the games that I love, except for not printing cards. But I understand why. I totally get why. And me understanding it and being totally on board for why they do it I don't have to be totally on board. I still want my cards. I take my ball and I'm going home because I don't have my cards.
Todd's saying that, the print on demand thing is getting big. And he says, he sees Star Frontiers on drive-through print on demand. So.
Yeah, and most of the time, those PDFs are next to nothing, $5-10.
And he's feeling nice. He's feeling nice to you too.
Yeah, but Todd, I don't know if you remember or not, but that's there's a reason that I bought the last Roundup set of cards.
So you build buildings?
No, that wasn't why. I still have all my first edition cards. No, I bought that because I have everything. There's very little I don't have, even from the new stuff. I got a big old space on my wall over here because I'll take my boxes if they have artwork on them and I flatten them out and I hang them up in my dungeon. And I got a whole mess of posse boxes hanging up on the wall over there because I still buy the posses. I haven't played in forever. And the last game I played was first edition. I played a first edition game with my son just because I know everybody shoot me. That's the edition I prefer.
All right. So some of our talking points, I think we've covered a lot of these, like why we like one over the other. We've kind of talked about that. And the benefits over one over the other. Like we said, it's easy to update with the digital,
right? Which
makes sense. But the paper, a hardback, is more tactile. You get that tactile feel of it.
Yeah.
You really can get into it. Like I said, you can smell that book and feel it. Whereas on the digital way, it's one of the things I have problems with digital. Is like, say I'm looking for stat cards. I can't easily just go, and quickly look.
That's true.
I got to swipe.
Right.
Okay, where's the one I'm looking for? So that's one of the things I don't like about digital.
Well, and to flip that around is one of the things that I do like about digital is now ultimately this ends up with me printing it anyway. But if I have a PDF, which again, like Todd alluded to with all of the print on demand guys getting really big, one of the things I love about them is if you do buy the hardcover book, most of the time you get the PDF with it. And even if there's an additional cost for the PDF, let's say, for instance, you have, the Joe Schmuckatelli book, whatever, insert your favorite game right there, whatever the game is. I'm sure I offended somebody with that, but
that is still an NPC now.
But say you have that book and the PDF is $12 and the book is $25. Well, if you pay $28, you get the book and the PDF. So you got the PDF for $3, basically, is how I've seen a lot of it done with the book itself and the PDF. But what I like about having the PDF available to me when I purchase the actual book is, particularly in regards to an RPG, say I'm running an adventure and I need a specific page in front of me. Maybe it has NPC stats on it. Maybe it has a new treasure. Maybe it has something like that. I can print that one page and then I can have it in front of me. We play Palladium is the RPG that we play. And one of the books has the character sheets and they're right in the middle of the book. So even if you put it on your photocopier to photocopy, it's got that rolled up edge. Everybody knows what I'm talking about. Right, exactly. Everybody knows what I'm talking about. You got that kind of grayish black edge to it because you're mashing down on top of the printer. Exactly. But I also have that book in PDF. So when I go to print a character sheet, that's where I print it from. So there's definitely some great advantages to having them.
If there's information in that book too, like you said, you can print it out and say it's a handout. If a lot of your players don't have that particular hard copy book, somebody has a PDF, they can print it out and, everybody can have a copy of whatever is this one important information thing that we need. Maybe it's a scenario for a skirmish game. Well, then you can print it out and everybody has the rules in front of them.
Yeah. And Todd said Steve Jackson Games does that too. And most GURPS are both PDF and hard copy. The other thing I like about it is, so I have my core rule book for, and I'm just going to talk RPG as it pertains to that. But for that, so for instance, as alignment reminders for my players to remember what their alignment of their character is, I was able to take the alignment page, print that page, cut out and laminate each one of them so I can put it on top of their character sheet and be like, I know it says what your alignment is there, but this is the description. And now keep it with your character sheet so that you know what I mean?
Yeah. So here's an interesting talking point. So
oh dear.
With paper, see, I got some positives.
All right.
So with paper, there's no need for a power source. You don't have to worry about your phone, tablet, computer dying on you in the middle of the game. You're looking up for that rules, and it's like, it's gone. And it's like, okay, now what do I do? Well, you got that hard book. You just turn the page.
Now you're just a caveman. Okay. What do you mean you got no power? You got no phone? You caveman. What's wrong with you? Yeah,
that's for the younger generation.
So, well, and go ahead. Can you pan over a little bit there, and you can show that stack of paper that you have over there? Let me see that stack of paper.
There's a little peek.
Oh, look at that! That is a glorious stack of books right there. Oh my gosh,
that's a lot of hard copies. These are going way back. They're probably not PDFs unless somebody has scanned those in.
Yeah, they are. You can track them down in a number of different places, and I know some people have scanned them in for free, but I am not 100%, but I'm fairly confident that those are available on DriveThruRPG as well.
Probably DriveThru. Yeah, they've like, what do you want to call it? Converted a lot of old books to PDFs for people because, like Todd said earlier, that's kind of the way that things are going. Yeah, but I don't think it's. I look at it as another tool. It's another way to play your games and not something that's going to replace the old hard copies. Because like I said, it's something about having a tactile book in your hand, the weight, you're going to get a sore back carrying around from store to store, but
only if you do books like I do, right?
Yeah, that big stack.
I got my stack. Yeah. So I think what you can really get out of this conversation is this. You can fight over paper or PDF, but they both have a place. And I think if you genuinely look at the application of both of them, you really are having a great benefit if you just have both of them. If you can't say maybe you live in a small apartment and you just can't have the books, and you want the books. Yeah, but it's just the reality is, look behind you. Books take up a lot of space. I have bookshelves upstairs filled with fantasy novels and Westerns and theology books and Star Trek novels and just tons and tons of books. And they take up a ton of space.
Same as it is literally day of the digital where people are buying your tape cassettes and DVDs.
Wait a minute. Hold on. Your what?
VHS and all that stuff. They're
okay,
just going,
now we're gonna have links to stuff to explain what to VHS. So people
say, look up in the history books.
Right, exactly.
But like you said, each one has its place, and a lot of that is going to depend on what your preference is. Right? What do you prefer? What works for you? Like you said, space wise. Maybe you don't have a big home that you can just have bookshelves just loaded with a library, a full collection of a series or a decade of an edition, that kind of thing.
Right. Well, now Todd makes a good point too. He says there's no hyperlinks on a hard copy. That is a true statement.
That is one good positive about that. If you have a question about a term or a rule.
Right. But I'm going to use that to segue somewhere real quick. So if you go to the Coastal Con website, you'll find a book by a friend of the show, the tabletop engineer, Jim Kelly. That's the RPG and War Game Supply Source Book. Now, as awesome as that book would be as awesome as that book would be to have in physical form, because as we've said many times before, it's like the JCPenney's Christmas catalog. Jim made it way worse for us because since it's digital, every single page is a hyperlink to somewhere where you can go spend money.
I've been a victim of those hyperlinks in his book a couple times. I'm like, oh, what's this? Click.
Yeah.
That much? Okay. Click.
I'll take two. Thank you very much.
Yeah, Todd, I have a couple of those old ones. So.
Oh, if you have an old copy of Star Wars on VHS, I do. I actually have 2 different sets. The little box sets they sold. I don't know why I have 2, but I ended up with 2. So yes, I have those. I don't have a VHS player anymore though. I just hold them up with a pencil and turn them and hold it up to my ear. You know, it doesn't really work, but it brings back some nostalgia. You know what all right. So now we're going to have to explain what I mean by sticking a pencil in your cassette to rewind it, right?
I wish I had one in reach. I would go demo, but they're way over there.
Do a cassette demo. I don't think that's really a gaming topic, is it?
No, we're getting off track.
We could connect that by saying you use a pencil in gaming. I don't know if you could do that or not.
One of the thoughts I had that came up was that it's harder to damage those digital copies of rules and whatnot that you have.
That's true.
Like you're drinking your coffee, reading your book. Oop, jumped in your lap.
You're drinking your coffee and reading your book. I mean, you spill your coffee on your phone, you've lost it too.
You can damage the actual phone that way, but you know the way the digital world is, a lot of times you have in your Google Drive or it's up in the cloud, so you always have it, and you usually can access it, wherever you are, type of thing. Where it's like, oh, I forgot my book. Well, here, let me just get on my phone. I probably got it here, type thing. But,
I'm sorry. You got to go home and get your book.
you can make me go get my book.
You go home and get your book. We'll wait for you.
Okay.
We set aside our Saturday. You go home and get your book, Eric. Come on. All the way back to Illinois and go get your book.
That's a long drive.
That's a long drive. I know it is. It's an 18-hour drive. The world's an imperfect place. Screws fall out all the time. Yes, and I have lots of loose screws, so I've lost quite a few. But like I said, I think the important thing to take out of this, we always try to have a positive spin on what we're talking about. And the truth of the matter is, both of the formats really, really have tons of uses. And like I said,
both at the same time sometimes.
Now, when I sit down at the table, I got to have a book in my hand. But as much as I busted on the PDF and how much I like books more, I have my super old iPad 1, which I just never threw away. It still reads PDFs. It doesn't do anything else. Like it doesn't. When you try to connect to the App Store, it's like, who? The what? No, I don't know what you're talking about. So it barely gets on the internet. However, I do have a ton of PDFs on it. And what's good for that is if I'm in bed and my wife is asleep, I can read it because it's illuminated. I don't have to have the light on. So I do that all the time. I'll read PDFs on my iPad, usually as they pertain to whatever adventure I'm trying to run or what have you. So I like them to read. I don't like them for when I'm playing. Now, the other thing PDFs really have an advantage for is when I'm doing audio story recordings, they're way better than the book, because you don't get the page turning noises. Now there are certain stories where the page turning noise would be okay, but generally speaking, you don't want the page turning noise. You know what I mean? So there's definitely an advantage there as well.
Okay. Yeah.
See, I wasn't totally mean to the PDF.
No. I mean, many game days where I'm doing demos and stuff. Like I said, I'll have both. I'll use both,
right?
Depending, like I'll have the book on hand. If I want to maybe show somebody, it's easier just to show them the book. But then for my own references, I may have either like a tablet open to, maybe the quick sheet of these are the steps. But then from that same digital, I'll take certain things and print them out. So I'll actually have a paper copy in front of me too. So like I said, I don't have to flip digitally trying to go back and forth to find something that I'm looking for.
And I think there's a huge advantage to the book too, because when you're in, like you were saying, when you're introducing someone new, you don't want to hand them your phone or 3 pages printed out with a paper clip on them. You know what I mean? You want to give them the book because of the eye candy. I know what you're laughing at. I just read that out of the corner of my eye. You better put that one up there. We just have to explain everything tonight.
So yeah, Todd said now he has the need to go fire up the dot matrix and print some character sheets. And this kind of cracks me up. So I want to ask you about your old tablet. Is the reason it doesn't connect up to the internet because the internet doesn't make those sounds anymore?
No, it connects to the internet. It's just like the App Store and everything else. I can go into iTunes and try to set up a playlist and be like, would you like to download your music from, that you've previously purchased? And I'm like, sure. And it says, no, we can't do that. We can't function like that. Dude, it doesn't even have a camera. Okay. It's going away. It's like really thick, but it reads PDFs great. It's great. Except, like if you're reading it and you start to fall asleep and you're laying in bed, it's not like
yourself.
Oh yeah. It's a thick iPad now. It's not like these little ones that, it's rough. The soup and can string is broken. Oh man. Yeah. This one's kind of showing some age. This episode.
Yeah.
This was the printer PDF fight, right?
But I think, like I said, it's a preference thing, and it probably is a generation thing. When you really think about it, because I'm sure there's grognards out there that are just solid. No, right. I need the book. Well,
I will tell you one thing. I'm going to defend the grognards for a minute because I'm like most of the way there. Is that I understand not wanting to have the digital stuff at the table. So like for my group, when we role play, don't have your phones at the table. Not because I don't want you to access PDFs, but because I don't want you texting people. The phone, it consumes your time. Yeah. And you get a ding and you got to, I got to see who that was. It might have been
distracting. Right. So it'll take you out of the moment of whether you're playing a board game, right, role-playing game, or even a skirmish game, Right. You want to stay in that moment, and you're strategizing. You don't want to break from that because then it's like, what was I doing?
Right, exactly. And you're flipping through that PDF on your phone and somebody texts you. You're like, oh, I wonder what because you don't happen to be moving at the time or something like that. So that's another thing that it's kind of like, just keep that away. And really, after everybody's able to come back into stores as more and more stuff is opening up with COVID, more people are opening things up. Who knows? Maybe you'll see a little bit less of that because people are craving. I want that face-to-face interaction. I don't even want to be distracted by my phone.
That's really why there's the word I was looking for, immersion.
Yeah.
That's really why I like playing games, is that face-to-face contact with people. Because, as time goes by, it seems the world is starting to, and I'm not blaming, technology, but it does seem like people are losing that that connection of how to deal with somebody and interact with people face to face, because everybody's so used to getting on there and texting. So
or someone I'm gonna throw my son under the bus. I'm sure he can hear me right now, but I don't remember. It was several weeks ago. He answered the phone. He's like, "Hey," and then like nothing else. I'm like, it's not texting. You don't wait 20 minutes for him to respond. You go ahead and respond now. It's a telephone conversation.
Yeah.
It's a telephone, not a texting machine. I mean, it is, but it was just kind of funny, and I teased him about it.
And that's why I got my kid into gaming, so he can interact with people and talk.
Yeah. And mine go to conventions with me. Todd. Okay, you know what? That's the quote to close it for us right there. These kids today, they need to get off our lawn. That's right. I agree, Todd. They need to get off our lawn, come inside, and play some of these games.
There we go.
There we go. See, we're gonna put a positive spin on that. But that is, we did it. We hit our exact time. Yeah. We did it. I'm very proud of us because we're not good at that at all. And I believe it's my turn to take us out, but you have the notes. So I will defer to your greater Huffman Worldwide management system to direct me on that. But anyway, here's the deal, guys. Thank you for joining us tonight. We love it when you join us and interact with us. Todd, thanks for being all over the place with us. We really enjoyed that. But you can always find us on our Indie Invasion podcast on Podbean. We're on a lot of different platforms. We're on iTunes, iHeartRadio, Pandora, Stitcher, Spotify, Pocket Casts, whole bunch of other ones, one called Verbal, all kinds of other stuff. If you go Google us.
I haven't heard that one yet.
Yeah, that was the one I told you about. I got an email from them. They're like, hey, we added your podcast. I was like, hey, great. That's super. Thanks a lot. Appreciate it. Okay. Anyways, you can also check us out on our Facebook page, YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, Discord. And if you have any questions, comments, or you know about an independent game, or you know about a cool topic that maybe we should ramble on about, I won't really say that we're solving anything when we ramble about it, but we can ramble about it. Have no fear.
Typically what we do, we're just recording it and letting you guys listen to us.
That's right. That's what we do when we go, hey, what are you doing tonight? Nothing. I'm painting. Okay. Hey, you want to jump on? Sure. This is the conversations that happen. But you can shoot those questions and stuff to us at indieinvasion@gmail.com and we will get back to you. And for all of these links that sometimes get lost in the conversation, you can find all of them at our website, coastaltext.com. That is the Coastal Con website for our convention that we run, and you can find the links for Jim's RPG war game source book that's like the JCPenney catalog. You can find the links to our Discord. You can find the links to our Podbean. You can find all of that stuff. And you can also find links to our partners for Coastal Con, which is Discover Games, who's a huge supporter of Indie Invasion, as well as Unipolar Games, also a huge supporter. Unipolar Games does all of our swag. And that's right, coffee cups, T-shirts, dice trays, all the good stuff. The coffee cup, I mean, the coffee cup's just cool, right? But you can support us on Patreon if you would like, over at patreon.com/indieinvasion. All of our stuff over there is free to watch, but there is some stuff that we put up over there exclusively, and it helps, I would say, keep the lights on, but it really doesn't help do that. It's just a way of you supporting this madness that we are doing. And what are we doing? We don't know, but we think we're solving the universe's gaming problems one game at a time.
We're trying.
And right now, I think we only have a couple days left in this particular Kickstarter, don't we? Do you happen to know how many days are left in the High Noon Kickstarter?
I can look up real quick. I think he's
look that up and I'll tell him about it. So Kickstarter, if you are a Kickstarter person and you like board games, we have come across and been talking to friend of the show, Dwight, who is the creator of 17 days. Okay, so 17 days left. He is the creator of the High Noon board game, which is a really interesting game. I've only played it once, but it was a blast. And it really strikes me as kind of a hybrid between a skirmish game and a board game. So it really has a lot of room to play. It's a lot of fun to play. You can check out their Discord channel as well. You can find all of those links at their Kickstarter page as well as on their Facebook page. So really cool game. I encourage you to go check it out. It's a lot of fun. It's High Noon, so it's a Western, but it's a base core rule system that is just going to expand out to be able to encompass any other sort of genre that you might be interested in. On that note, all right, so now you
take us out, bubble gum of hot glue.
I was doing some hot glue sculpting the other day, so I was instructed that I don't get a cool crafting wizard name or warrior name. I get to be the Bubba Gump of hot glue guns. So
that's right.
If you're looking for a hot glue gun, I highly recommend this one. It's a Sure Bonder, and I don't know anything else about it except that it's blue and it's really awesome. So if you need a hot glue gun, go get that one. Anyways, guys, as you're out there playing your games, having a blast, having fun, enjoying your friends, using your paper products, whatever those might be, whether they're paper towels, toilet paper, or your role-playing books, or you're using them as a PDF, remember to prepare yourself for the invasion.